Hello. Oh, I can record without streaming. Interesting. Hello, and welcome to the Way of Zerthimon, the fourth circle.
I will hear you.
Yes, you will hear me. First, I will read upon you. Oop. Oh, leather computer chair, I love you. Unlock the fourth circle of Zerthimon. And read. Know that the rising of the people against the Illithid was a thing built upon many 10 turnings of labor. Many of the people were gathered and taught the secret ways of defeating their Illithid masters. They were taught to shield their minds, to use them as weapons. They were taught the scripture of steel, and most importantly, they were given the knowing of freedom. Some of the people learned the nature of freedom, and took it into their hearts. The knowing gave them strength. Others feared freedom and kept silent, but there were those that knew freedom and knew slavery, and it was their choice that the people remained chained. One of these was Vilquar. Vilquar saw no freedom in the rising, but opportunity. He saw that the Illithid had spawned across the many of the false worlds. Their worlds numbered so many that their vision was turned only outwards, and all they took did not already weird sentence structure. So their vision was turned only outwards to all they did not already touch. The Vilquar's eyes saw that much took place that the Illithid did not see. To the rising, the Illithid were blinded. Vilquar came before his master, the Illithid Xeshire. With the knowing of the rising, Vilquar added to his chains and offered to be their eyes against the rising. In exchange, Vilquar asked that he be rewarded for his service. The Illithid agreed on his contract. At the bonding of the contract, a dark time occurred. Many were the betrayals Vilquar committed, and many were the people that the Illithids fed upon the stem of the rising. It seemed that the rising would die before it could occur, and the Illithid were pleased with Vilquar's eye. It was near the end of this dark time that Zerthimon came to know Vilquar's teachings. In knowing Vilquar's eye, Zerthimon forced the rising to silence itself, so that Vilquar might think at last his treacheries had succeeded, and the rising had fallen. He knew that Vilquar's eye was filled only with the reward he had been promised. He would see what he wished to see. With greed beating in his heart, Vilquar came upon the Illithid Xeshire and spoke to his master for his success. He said the rising had fallen and the Illithids were safe to turn their eyes outwards once more. He praised their wisdom in using Vilquar's eye, and he asked them for his reward. In his greed blindness, Vilquar had forgotten the knowing of why the people had sought freedom. He had lost the knowing of what slavery meant. He had forgotten that his Illithid masters saw when they looked upon him. And so Vilquar's betrayal of the people has ended with another betrayal. Vilquar came to know that when Vilquar's eye had nothing left to see, Vilquar's eye was useless. The Illithid gave Vilquar his reward, opening a cavity of his skull and devouring his brain. Vilquar's corpse was cast upon the field of husks, so its blood might water the poison-stemmed grasses. Close the circle.
What
Getting dark
is
in
your
here.
will?
There's no Dak'kon. I can talk to you about her teachings. What did you come to know? When one chooses to see only what is before them, they only see a part of the whole. They are blind. Just as Vilquar was blinded by his promised reward, so were the Illithids blinded by the true rising. To the true rising. When they heard Vilquar's words, they turned their sights outwards again, didn't they? When the rising was free to strike. Know that you speak truly. Vilquar's eye blinded both Vilquar and the Illithids. The tentacled ones thought the rising to be no more. When the rising occurred, the ground drank deep with Illithid blood. So was the victory born from treachery. It is a curious lesson. Why would it be a part of the teachings of Zerthimon? Dak'kon's blade bleeds into a dead night black, and his voice deepens for a moment. You think he's angry, but you're not so sure. There is much about the way of Zerthimon and his path that is difficult to know. Do you know why Vilquar's Eye is part of the Way of Zerthimon? It is part of the telling of how our people came to know freedom. Let us know that there are those, even among the people, who are not of the people, and that even in the greatest treachery, a greater knowing may be achieved. Very well. You have come to know the fourth circle of Zerthimon. He takes the circle with the deft motion, he twists one of the links so that the plate slides forth. He hands the plate to you. Meditate upon its teachings, and the knowing of it shall give you strength. This is why I wish to know about the Way of Zerthimon. Dak'kon fingers feel around the edges of the stone circle. He twists it clockwise, the links clicking until they've settled themselves to the next configuration. He then reverses the motion, resetting the stone. The next circle of Zerthimon is open to you. Study it, and I will hear your words. Okay, so let's learn our new spell. Because seriously, being a mage is where all of this comes in handy. I am going to try to learn as much magic as I can, and that's why this mini-series may or may not be so important. So thank you very much, and look forward to the fifth circle of Zerthimon.